Hi, you folks are in for a real treat today. I'm making this video. It's entitled 666 and the Biomechanical Landscape. So every 666 years, the Earth has Menses, or it has a period. So Earth's female, the universe is female, the solar system's female. So it can be beautiful, mysterious, and wonderful, but it can also be chaotic, quite dangerous. Our solar system in particular is a very, very unstable solar system. Anything can happen, all the time. You know, we get taught that, things happen really slowly, and this isn't going to happen. The sun isn't going to do this for this many years, and this planet's not going to do that for that many years, and this planet has been this way for this many years, and it's fixing its gaseous state, and it's going to eventually turn into this and all that. Right there in the explanation that they give you in science is telling you it's chaotic. It's not stable. Okay? So that's true what they're saying. All the planets are up to something. They're all doing something. And planets give birth to other planets. So, because the planets are female. So, when that planet gives birth to another planet and ejects that planet out of itself, well, don't you think it's going to bump into something else? You know, haven't you ever seen marbles on a you know, haven't you ever seen pool balls? I mean, you know, when you you know, anything can happen. Exactly what it's like. So what happens, there's this thing called the biomechanical landscape. And the biomechanical landscape is exactly the art of H.R. Giger. So if you've ever seen, you know, you've seen the first Alien and the second Alien movie. Great movie. Some of my favorites. They show H.R. Giger's work, but if you go to study on H.R. Giger, so if you just go to Google and type in H.R. Giger art, you'll see the biomechanical landscape. Or if you type in H.R. Giger biomechanical landscape on Google, you'll get to see the biomechanical landscape. And that's what happens. This is exactly what takes place. So every 666 years, right when you get towards the end, before the cataclysm occurs, before the Earth has Menses, the Earth is about 5% biomechanical landscape. That's terrible. And the same thing always happens over and over and over and over, except for one period, which I'll explain. So there's always one group gets advantage over the other groups. It exploits the other groups. It sucks them dry for the resources. It uses them, exploits them, enslaves them. It degrades the Earth's surface. It depletes the resources of the Earth. It's all about war. You have half the people starving, the other half people live in opulence. You have a small amount of people that are just, you know, they got so much resources until there's no way to explain it, and they don't really want to share it with anyone. Matter of fact, their philosophy is generally they're so much better and loftier than everyone else. Is that in their view, you know, they could basically do away with half the population because they're just useless anyway, because they're not like us. And how do we know that? Because we're so successful. See? So it's the same old story, same old song and dance over and over and over. So it ain't nothing new under the sun. That's the legitimate truth. Okay. So now, the Earth being female, you think about that. What do women really want? Women want love. That's what they want. No matter what the fuck they're talking about, they really want love. So now, right now, at this point in our history, are we loving the earth? No, we're not. What are we doing? We're raping it. We're mainly raping her. She considers it rape. Okay? The stuff that we do to her right now, like drilling for all the oil and sucking it out of her, and fracking and pollution and making rockets and going to space while we let other people starve on her surface. Building dams to flood millions of people and kill them and shit. And all this kind of dumb shit. Making genetically modifying crops, making crops that really have no vitamin, have no supplementary benefit to us whatsoever, but just to make money, or just to make money. It's always some form of money. Okay? So at this point in the history, in the evolution, or the evolution is a 666-year period. Okay. Now what happens is that a large portion of the surface of the Earth gets discombobulated. You'll have whole mountain ranges move 100 miles. You'll have flatlands where there was mountain ranges. You'll have marshlands where there was flatlands. You'll have some of the oceans will even move. Generally, the tectonic plates won't really move from the Earth's Menses. She won't do that. The tectonic plates moving generally happen from stuff like if a comet hits the Earth, or an asteroid hit the Earth, or there's too much nuclear testing. There's too much. We used to have these weapons called the 2A stone, the terrible crystal, the 2A stone. You can see that in Jim Henson's movie, The Terrible Crystal. Yeah, the 2A stone. It's exact replication of that type of weapon, and that type of weapon can cause the tectonic plates to move. And it has done it plenty of times over the 5.95 billion year history of the planet. Because as I said before, the same technology pops up over and over and over again. There's only so many possibilities. All right. But what does happen during the cataclysm is that species can just occur out the clear blue. So we're taught about evolution. And there's a little bit to evolution that is accurate. But Darwinian evolution is 80% bullshit. But 20% of it isn't. Okay. However, species can simply occur, and they can simply occur from the rarefied conditions in the atmosphere and the environment that occur during the Menses, during the Menses. So, no evolution necessary, they just simply occur. That's animal, plant, mineral, insect, and like us. Like, how they say there's the missing link and stuff like that. That's because species can just simply occur during the cataclysm. Now, we are the way we are. People like us have always been on this planet. The Earth is 5.95 billion years old. But there can be permutations of us that can occur during the cataclysm. So that we sort of evolve out of what we were. Like, for instance, look at the Hobbits, or look at the Geldings in Jim Henson's movie. There's other movies that'll show some, general replications of the type of species that could just happen from the rarefied conditions in the atmosphere and the surface of the planet. And so, so the Earth is a place, is a chaotic place. It's not a stable place. It's not even. I mean, it's a beautiful, wonderful, mysterious place. Don't get me wrong. It's incredible. However, the way it is, though, it's not a place you want to continue to reincarnate on. Why? Because of what I just told you. So you're going to have, no matter what, you're going to cyclically have the rapture. So see what I'm saying? See, the Earth considers her right now. She considers herself to be being raped right now as we speak. She considers what was going on her to her as rape, and that's why the Bible explains it as the rapture, the rape sure. See, and so if you keep incarnating here, you're going to incarnate. You're going to be subject to asteroids hitting the Earth every now and then. You're going to be subject to comets hitting the Earth every now and then. You're going to be subject to the Earth colliding with other planets every now and then. You're going to be subject to the 666-year Menses cycle also. So, you know, there's a lot of chaos that goes on there. See what I'm saying? There's only one period of time when the Earth is a fairly peaceful, developmental, pretty positive place to live, but it only occurs once, and you never know when it's going to occur. You have to the sign. You have to see the sign, and that time is when. So this is a Zapotec planet. Who are the Zapotecs? The Zapotecs are the Olmecs, Toltecs, and Aztecs. And so they come periodically to this. They colonize the planet. It's a Zapotec colony. They colonized the planet 6 billion years ago. And it's always been a Zapotec planet, and it always will be a Zapotec planet. And it's sort of like a prison, in a way. Because the souls that incarnate on this planet, not all of them, but the souls that incarnate on this planet would not be compatible with incarnating anywhere else on another planet outside of this solar system, either into another planet on our galaxy that's more advanced or that's less chaotic, and into a solar system that's less chaotic, or even to another galaxy. There's some galaxies that are completely peaceful, but you're never going to incarnate off this planet until you live a life free of negative karma. You have to live a life free of negative karma. How do you live a life free of negative karma? Well, there's different ways you could do it, but the easiest way for the Western mind to understand it would be just follow the 10 Commandments in the Bible. Now, I'm not religious at all, period. But if you take those 10 Commandments and you follow those, you would be able to graduate this planet. So if you were born, say at, and you start going to church or something like that at 12 or 13, you learn 10 Commandments, even if you stop going to church or whatever, but you still follow them all your life. Let's say you never went to church, but you stumbled across them and you thought, that's a pretty good thing to live by, and you followed those all your life, you would graduate. Because any of the karma that you had in previous lifetimes, you would easily burn it off. You would easily dissipate that karma. As well as the fact that you want to incur any new karma. So the individual human soul weighs about 21 grams. And it's too heavy to escape the gravitational pull of what's called the soul reaver. The soul reaver is the moon. So the moon will not allow you to escape the valence of the planet, because what happens is when a human dies, their soul is attached magnetically. There's no such thing as gravity. It's attached electromagnetically to the organic sphere that it incarnated on. So if you haven't graduated this sphere, you're not going to escape its electromagnetic attachment to it. Magnetic. Okay, so you won't be able to get away. And the moon is what ensures that to take place. Okay, so that's why you hear, you know, the word for water is the same word for soul in so many of the cultures around the world, thousands of them, as well as the fact that the moon has an effect on water. It pulls it. See, so your soul, your individual soul, is made up mostly of vapor, water vapor, and it does have an awareness. It does have a constituency, and but it will not escape it will not escape the electromagnetic pull of this planet. And then the moon ensures that until you live a life free of negative karma. And so, so after the cataclysm occurs, you know, you have like places on this earth that are permanent civilizations. In other words, they ain't going nowhere. And you see those evidence in, like, you know, the pyramids in Giza, you know, in Egypt, all of the South American megaliths. You know, there's just, you know, there's tens of more thousands of megaliths in South America than there are anywhere else in the world. They dwarf. Meaning, if you put all the megaliths around the world together, there's still 1,000 times more of them throughout South America. Why? Because that's where we originate. So, and you know that by if you have ever heard of Nazca, Nazca, and you see what's called the Nazca lines. That area of Nazca is simply where our electromagnetic starcraft land when we come back. And you know that's the fact, you know that's the case, because if you look at I think it's the northern shore of Peru, in Peru, you'll see a giant trident carved into the side of a mountain that you can only see from way up in the air in a plane. So, so you think about that. If you can only see it from a plane, doesn't that mean it had to be? You know what I mean? You know, it's common sense. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to overthink it. You know, they just use lasers from the craft, and they just etch them into the landscape. So, and that trident, if you follow where the trident points, where does it point? It points directly to Nazca, because that's telling the starcraft which way to go. It's like a direction. That's all. Like another landing corridor that we would have on the planet would be like, you've heard of Baalbek before. Oh, we can't reproduce Baalbek now. That's right. And you never. In other words, the white world today is the white world. Okay. Other days it was the Chinese world. Other days it was the Indian world. Other days it was the black world. You know, if you're not a Zapotec, okay, you're not going to reproduce our technology. All right? So no one could build Baalbek but us. No one could build Giza. No one could build the pyramids in Giza but us. Nobody can build all the South American megaliths but us. Good. Period. You're not going to reproduce our technology. You can't do it. You don't evolve far enough. You're not advanced enough to do it. So, and so that's permanent technology. That's permanent civilization. So what happens is that you know, see, the Earth will not destroy those things, if you know. She'll protect them always. Because Zapotecs don't treat women with disrespect. Zapotecs love women. Zapotecs love, so the Earth knows we love her, see, because we harmoniously colonized her and terraformed her at 6 billion years ago. Okay? And we'll return periodically after the cataclysm sometimes, and we will re-terraform the planet. We will reset up the atmospheric system, because sometimes it gets degraded. It needs a little maintenance. Like the last time we fully maintenance the atmospheric system on the Earth was about 18 million years ago. Okay. But we periodically will do that. When we do that, there's almost no life on the planet. Okay. just people, So what happens is after the cataclysm, you generally have people, they will end up what? Living in caves. Or living in the remnants of the civilization that was there that got destroyed from the cataclysm. See? And so that's why you always hear, black people talking about the white people were living in caves over in Europe. And the white people talking about the black people were living in caves, because it's true about both of them. Or you'll hear some stuff, the Indians were living in caves. It's because leftover remnants of every civilization that has been on this planet for 6 billion years is still there. It's just little pieces of it here and there. Okay, but medical psychiatric science, is correct when it shows us that trauma causes memory loss. So when the cataclysm occurs, the majority of the people that don't die, the vast majority of them that don't die, do end up living in caves, or they end up living kind of more animalistic lives than they were living before. And they also suffer memory loss. So that in an evolutionary sense, it de-evolves them in a way, a little bit backwards to a more brute style of existence, more basic rudimentary style of existence, and that especially under situations of dynamic tension, that's disputes amongst each other, or encounters with wild, with the wild kingdom, humans have to resort back to their animal nature. Now, so what about humans being top of the food chain? Is that true? Yeah, it's true. That's the reason why in the end, it doesn't take very long, humans wind up displaying they're the top of the food chain. And why is that? Because let's put it this way. There's an English writer named Colin Wilson who wrote this book. Well, in the book, he said that humans have the most efficient robot. In other words, we have the most efficient auto response system to external stimuli, to external circumstances. So it doesn't take long for humans to figure it out and to get back to pretty much domination of the surface of the planet, because we have the most efficient robot, or auto response. Now also, you will see there will be, now new species can occur. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I'll say it again if I did. New species can occur, simply just occur. They don't need evolution. They don't need to come from a one-celled organism and evolve over millions of years up to this. That shit's all bullshit. That shit's bullshit. Okay? 20% of it's not bullshit. But the way Darwin explained is complete nonsense. I mean, there are species on this planet that have been here the whole 6 billion years. And that will always be. It should be easy for you to guess what species those are. Those are the one-celled organisms. That's the, or the real, the one-celled organisms. You see what I'm saying? So when they see something that they know has always been here, they have to presume that that's what everything evolved from. That's the way Darwin explained it, but it's completely incorrect. It's just that the rarefied atmospheric and surface conditions that occur can produce new species at once. So you hear the Neanderthal man, the Neanderthal man just occurred at once. See? Just for here for a little while and gone. See? So when society gets it happens every time. When it gets to the point to where it's degraded, that's when the Earth has its Menses, and it already knows it's going to happen about every 666 years. Pretty much know like clockwork what mankind's going to do, what humans are going to be up to at that point. There is one period, however, of time, like I said before, that the Earth, you only really have to worry about the cataclysm. You don't have to worry about your fellow man as a mercantile predator, as creating disparities in wealth and hogging the resources and enslaving other people, any of that. And that is during the time when the Zapotecs returned to the planet. That's the Olmecs, Toltecs, and Aztecs. And then we stay here for one procession. Now, these are the Titans. The Olmecs are the Titans. But an Olmec can be a Toltec. A Toltec can be an Olmec. An Aztec can be an Olmec. An Olmec can be an Aztec. They can interchange. But their three basic functions are: Toltecs are the scribe. They script the matrix. That's why you heard about 2012 being so important. And it was the implementation of the Mayan Jaguar priest knight scriptors of the matrix. The word was made flesh. That's really the most important thing. But nobody in the Zapotec society, no one's more important in the universe. No one's more important in the universe. Generally, the Toltecs run the temple in general, but it's not written in stone. It doesn't have to be that way. Olmecs can do it. And Aztecs can do it. Toltecs can do Aztec work. Toltecs can do Olmec work. Olmecs can do Toltec work. Blah, 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 blah. But in general, that's the way it is. Cumulatively, Toltecs, Olmecs, and Aztecs, once again, are Zapotecs. Okay? The Zapotec colony, the Zapotec planet, you don't take over a Zapotec planet. Nobody takes over a Zapotec planet. Never happened. It's never going to happen. How can I say it with such confidence? I don't really know. But I'm going to tell you again, no one takes over Zapotec planet. Okay? Even reptilians that assail, reptilians love to follow the white race around. And just assail them whatever fucking planet they're on, wherever they're at. For some reason, well, we know why, but anyway. The reason why is because the whites are the most like reptilians. They're analytical, they categorize everything, and they give everything a definition. And they analyze, but they kind of overanalyze shit. Okay? So, Toltecs, Zapotecs aren't like that. Zapotecs are like this. They just know and they just do it. They don't even try to always know how they did it. They don't even always try to know how they know. They don't even always try to know every little secret thing of nature. They don't do that. See, that's the reason why the white race in the end can never usurp a Toltec or can never usurp a Zapotec planet, because they waste so much time on overanalyzing everything until they wind up squeezing the life out of life. You know what I mean? So they take all the fun out of shit. Sometimes a mystery is just a mystery, and it's fun for it to be a mystery, But anyway, so they take this. There's one period that occurs. Every 25,000. Well, it occurs periodically, and you don't know when it's really going to occur. But it's going to occur within the precession of the equinoxes. Okay, and one precession of the equinoxes is 25,920 years, and it has 2,160 year intervals in between. Okay, and so like one click is the age of Pisces. One click is the age of Aquarius. One click is the age of Aries. One click, is the age of Taurus. One click is the age of Scorpio. Okay? There's a whole lot to that, but you can study the zodiac of Dendera and Abydos in Egypt. And you start to get an idea of what the shit's all about. Okay. But we'll stay for one procession. So we'll stay for 25,920 years. During that time, there won't be no slavery. There won't be no disparities in wealth. There won't be no predator on the earth and none of that shit. The earth will be pretty much a paradise for that 25,920 year period, except there'll still be the 666 year cataclysm, which is still why you don't want to keep incarnating on the planet. But it'll be a much better place to develop and graduate from. That's like God's gift to the planet, okay? Because you can call it whatever you want, but that's how it works. So when we come, you have a paradise to live on, except for every 666 years. But during the time between the cataclysms, your ability to live that life free of negative karma is greatly increased. Greatly increased. Because of the conditions that we make sure happen. No one's going to dominate anybody else. The Zapotecs are not overly officious or anything like that. It's just how would that paradise of life exist in your imagination? Is pretty much how it is. There's enough for everybody. There's enough food for everybody. The water's clean. The atmosphere's clean. There's no, there's nothing that is really overly negative. The biomechanical landscape still accrues, however, because it's just a natural condition of this planet. And so every 666 years, the Earth will still have its Menses, and that Menses will reset the biomechanical landscape. Now, on some planets, in our galaxy, the biomechanical landscape is 50, 60, 70, 80% of the planet. You just imagine that. You go look at the H.R. Giger. You imagine a planet, living on a planet that the biomechanical landscape is 80% of it, or 50% of it. So we only have 5% about it at this point. And no, you don't see it because it's down in the bowels. It's down in the, it's down in the old, 300-year-old catacombs of some place that's been, an avalanche, sealed it up, or it's down in the New York City subway systems, 8, 10 levels down, and nobody even goes down there anymore, all the way back in the dark corners that they don't even inspect anymore. The biomechanical landscape down there growing. It's all kind of places, old cities, Vatican City, just old places, old hoary places, biomechanical landscapes at work. And it's terrible. Because at some point, what happens on planets with the biomechanical landscape is the computers take over. and they basically incorporate the humans into the biomechanical landscape. Now, on the Zapotec planet, that shit don't happen. On a white planet, especially a white planet, the biomechanical landscape, it could happen on a black planet too. Because, black people, the white people just as dumb as each other. You know what I'm saying? Black people be like, we's the spiritualist people, White people, they go on facts and analysis, facts, definitions, Instead of, they don't integrate, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And there's a thing on this planet called the golden rule, And the golden rule is the golden race rules. So, Zapotec's rule, you know what I'm saying? because Zapotecs are the golden race. Okay? And Olmecs are not Negroid, they're not black. You can have some that are black though, don't get me wrong. But 95% of Olmecs are golden skin, they're golden brown. 95% of the Toltecs are golden brown. 95% of the Aztecs are golden brown. You might see some of that rootiness in their skin, like clay, but 95% they're golden brown. But you'll have white Toltecs, you have white Olmecs, you have white Aztecs, you have black Toltecs, Olmecs, and Aztecs, brown Olmecs, Toltecs, and Aztecs, yellow Olmecs, Toltecs, and Aztecs. So, you know, there's even some of them that look like the old moon-colored people of India. So you have those two moon colors, light blue moon colored and light green moon colored. So, the new precession of the equinoxes will occur in about 100 years. We're at about 2100. It'll start. You will be clicking into the new precession. And the way you know that is because people like me are incarnating. Now, if I wasn't incarnating here to tell you about this, then the precession wouldn't be coming up where we're going to come, because I'm the precursor. I'm the person that comes to tell you about it. Okay? I've always done it. There's 250 Zapotec planets in our solar system, and I'm the leader of all of them. So I have to do it. And it's not a laborious thing, you know. I have to do it because they're my planets, okay? And there'll be others that'll come and they'll incarnate along with me, and those will generally be the scripters of the matrix, the ones who scribe it, who write the matrix, you know, like my girl and the Mayan Jaguar priest, because we had 2012. Now my girl, when she started out in the music industry at 13, and then she finished at 31, as far as the bulk of it, okay? So, I mean, she's not stopped, but I'm saying the bulk of it, okay? So, and the Mayan calendar is based on what? 3113. And it culminated when? In 2012. December 2012. They say December 21st, 2012. But it would have been December 13th, 2012. That's her birthday. Because she's a scribe. See what I'm saying? You know, crackers can't, you know. They can get close, which is good. So, yeah, so you just don't want to keep incarnating here. So the way you don't keep incarnating here, like I said, you can just follow 10 Commandments. Or you can be all esoteric about the shit if you want to, and, you know, you can do the mots. So I'll explain the mots to you. That's the Egyptian, they're really Cometian, but the Egyptian mots. Originally there were 360 mots. A mot is designed to, from a positive habit, reproduce within the person practicing the mot a talent or a characteristic. So, or a sense. It's called a sense. It's better. We used to have beings on this planet, well, Zapotecs are like that. So, we used to have beings on this planet that have 360 senses. Now, we have 5. Can you imagine dealing with a being that has 360 senses? Well, see, lots of Olmecs have 360 senses. Lots of Toltecs have 360 senses. And lots of Aztecs have 360 senses. So you see all these different, I'll give you examples, like Akhenaten, for instance. That's a good example of a Toltec that has. Now you know Akhenaten's a Toltec because he runs the temple. Good. Like Hatshepsut. Like, you know Hatshepsut is a Toltec because she runs the temples. Okay. Now Atlanteans and Egyptians, or Cometians, were two distinct different groups. They were not the same. So if you try to say that ancient Egyptians are Atlanteans, that's only partially true. It's only partially true in the sense that us, the Zapotecs, last time we came, which was 268,000 BCE, and we stayed for one procession. We stayed for 225,920 years. We landed at Nazca. We rebuilt our society of Atlantis. We call it Atlantis. That's a good word for it. That's what it was. It was global. Okay. Right now, the Earth, she just hides it all for us. She keeps it safe for us down there in South America, and then when we get back, we'll just uncover all the vegetation off of our societal structures. I mean physical structures, the buildings and stuff like that. We'll just get all the vegetation off of them. And so many of them are buried, like, because you got to figure it's been a couple 100,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So, and we'll just uncover them all and just activate them. Same with Giza, the pyramids in Bosnia, China, wherever. It don't matter. And there's no Chinese going to tell us you're not going to come and deal with your technology. There's nobody going to tell Zapotecs on their planet that they're not going to activate their technology. Because it's our technology. Even in one example, there's a pyramid in Egypt called Abu Rawash. It sits up on a mountain, and it looks like it's been exploded. And we did that because when we went to Kemet, we had some people kind of being resistant to the fact that we're telling them this is our technology, that you're living in our technology. The place you live at, that's our technology. We had some people that were resistant to it. So we didn't need that pyramid anymore anyway, because we weren't going to reroute the Nile through it. So we just blew it up to show them, can you do that? And they understood. We wouldn't have done nothing to them, but it was just a way to illustrate to them, the people who were doubtful, We wouldn't have heard them or nothing like that. We just found our way to convince them that didn't work, but it worked. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we'll stay for one procession, and then we'll leave. So, like I said, you're only going to have one problem during that time. Now, sometimes still, though, the Earth can get hit by comets, it can get hit by asteroids, it can actually bump into other planets and stuff like that. Can Zapotec stop that? Yeah, we can stop the Earth from being destroyed. So, I mean, if there's a comet or asteroids, or, if there's 1 million asteroids going to hit the planet, you know what I'm saying? Some of them don't hit them all. So, but the ones that would, the bigger ones, or the ones that would hit in strategic spots where we know it will probably break the Earth up, we'll stop those. But some of them will still get through, and they'll hurt the surface life on the planet. So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to keep incarnating on a planet that is this chaotic, that is a prison karma, a karma prison. That's all it is, a karma prison. It's a place to graduate from. Just an elaborate school. There's a reason for the reason why it's like this. It wasn't always like that, but there's something that happened in the past that nobody could foresee, and that's the reason why the Earth had to be made into a karma prison, a place you graduate from. So I think, let me see, that's pretty much the details I want to cover here.